Hello, Billy Grant here, author of The One Who Shows the Way and My Christianity, a Christianity for the 21st century, and I'm going to read you the introduction of this book. The reason being that a lot of people, ask me, I bump into them, and what are you doing now that you're no longer doing your sort of joinery business? And I say to them, I've written two books that are essentially about Christianity, and they then jump to the conclusion that I'm doing the usual thing of trying to sell them, a Christianity that they've already rejected and want nothing to do with. And so what I'm trying to do is show people that that's not what I'm doing at all. In fact, I'm actually trying to show people that they're probably behaving more Christian than many people that are calling themselves Christian, because they are trusting a spiritual leading within themselves that they experience as being defiled when they try to listen to and buy into what's being sold out there as Christianity. And so they are the ones that are following an inner sense of truth and rightness, which to me is exactly what Christianity is about. There is a spiritual guidance out with us and within us when we learn to follow that rather than listen to this machine, and rather than invest in thought and logic and reason, our own self-esteeming, our own psychological ways of functioning. How can I put it? At the same time, there are things within the Bible and within the teachings of Jesus that are true and correct. So essentially what I'm saying is, if we go right to the very beginning of the Bible, where kind of God tells Adam, whatever that means, whatever it was, I'm not interested. But the principle of it seems to work, that God is saying to Adam to eat of the tree of life, follow what is real and alive and feels true and vital. Don't follow logic and reason and thought. Get out the tree of knowledge and into the tree of life, because that's where the aliveness and vitality is. So I'm trying to teach people that's the Christianity, not believing in stories and then ending up fighting and squabbling all over the world because my story is different from yours. So this is an introduction anyway, and I'll try and keep this video to about 10 minutes so that I'm not rambling on. Last year on September the 20th, I sat down at this computer to check my emails and suddenly found myself writing a book. And that's the God's honest truth, absolutely out of the blue. That was September 2016. The book was mainly about my midlife crisis and subsequent spiritual awakening and the learnings that ensued as a consequence. The book was generally about the past 12 years of my life and was basically my way of working through my desperate need to integrate all of what I had been through and learned during those years. One of the things at the heart of this 13-month writing episode was the affirmation that everything that I had done during that time had ultimately served me. This affirmation then added towards my personal realisation that there is definitely something holistic and guiding at play in life, and that it has many different forms. Within this writing episode also came the realisation of how much easier my life was when I followed this holistic guidance rather than follow my own thoughts or opinions, and rather than try to figure this spiritual guidance out, because a lot of us are doing that. We won't get to understand it. That's taken a lot of time to learn. But the most important realisation from writing the book was that over and above all of these teachings and forms of guidance, it is wiser for me to follow the teachings of Jesus and the holistic guidance within me than to discern right and wrong from my own logic and reason. As I was saying earlier, this inner holistic guidance seeming very like what Jesus calls the Holy Spirit. And I often say holistic guidance rather than Holy Spirit because it triggers people back to that Christianity thing that they've rejected. This realisation, however, also leaves me with a bit of a dilemma because I actually don't believe everything that's written in the Bible, as I just said. So with that contradiction being my reality, I have tried to convince myself that I don't need to associate all of this with religion in the usual sense of the word. For me, religion is about the fact that we come into the world pure, we become psychologically functioning until we reach the kind of place I'm talking about here, and then we try to realign back to being pure and true and straight again and not go through life with that facade that we put on. That is the realignment. That is the religion. And it happens whether you buy into Christianity or whatever other religion anyway. That's the religion. I'll read that again. So with that contradiction being my reality, I've tried to convince myself that I don't need to associate all of this with religion in the usual sense of the word, and that I can simply comprehend it as spiritual and not religious. But the reality of taking that approach is that it simply doesn't work for me. It doesn't sit with my inner truth meter, the embodied spirit within me, that can discern right and wrong better than this thing does. There is too much of this that relates directly to the teachings of Jesus and what is written in the Bible. Now perhaps that spiritual or supernatural guidance was new to me. The reason that it was new to me was that I grew up in a society that had mostly rejected the notion of spiritual or supernatural guidance being real and at play in our lives. This being because much of our society has rejected Christianity and religion due to the problems that it causes in the world and due to the behaviours of some of the clergy and leaders. Conversely, we also haven't seen any wonderful examples from those living a more Christian life to convince us to change or consider what they are offering. And then thirdly, for anyone who does try it, me, there is the issue that Christianity teaches us about a living God or spirit that interacts and guides us by evidencing it from a 2,000-year-old book, instead of evidencing it from the present day experiences, part of what I do in the book. If the Holy Spirit is alive and active in our lives, then why not evidence that instead, as surely that would be more convincing. For me, we also have too many ministers psychoanalyzing the Bible as a means of ministering, rather than working the way that the Bible teaches by abiding in Jesus and the embodied Holy Spirit that he told us was there to guide us. Okay, so that's maybe enough just now. I'll finish this introduction in a video that follows this. But hopefully you're beginning to get a feel for the fact I'm not singing the usual song. I'm saying that trust what feels right. That's your guidance.